Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. Well, a little bit of back to regular schedule I guess. Today I will be drawing with a fountain pen. Fountain pen that I have found on Temu, believe it or not. I made an account just out of curiosity to see what's going on in there and see what kind of fountain pens I could find in there. I guess it's not very different than AliExpress, except it has less choices, or at least I couldn't find much in there. Searching for fountain pens, majority of the fountain pens in there seems to be from Jinhao, which is nothing wrong with it if you like Jinhao, just not a lot of other brands like Moonman or whatever else. However, I did find this pen coming from NATAMI, the Black Knight, which I was intrigued about it because I do kind of like the design of it and how it looks. Like it almost looks like a nicer version of the popular Black Forest fountain pen, which it's coming from Hong Dayan. Almost even the name, it's very similar, and color, well, sort of very similar. Their similarities comes with a number 5 nib, which again looks very similar with a Black Forest, a very similar-ish section. However, the design patterns on the barrel and the cap are slightly different. Even the clip, it's a little bit different and just as stiff, I would say. Anyway, focusing on the actual pen, as the name suggests, it is black. I don't think I've seen it coming in any other different color. Cap is push and pull cap, makes a nice satisfying pop as you, well, put it back. And it does post, which actually I would say posts even a little bit better than the Black Forest, at least the original Black Forest. Still quite top heavy though. However, feels a little bit longer. I don't know, I didn't compare it next to a Black Forest. And I keep on, well, comparing it with it because that's the only fountain pen that I can think of that this pen seems to, I guess, borrow some designs cues from. Anyway, going into the fountain pen itself, balances well, posts well, caps well. I don't know if the cap seals very well. I only used it for a couple of days, however, seems to start okay. For my ink today, I decided to use the Platinum Carbon Black. Haven't used the ink for a long time and I kind of missed it. I wasn't sure what to use it on, so as you'll see me eventually, I will be using it in the new, well, not new, but the sketchbook that I started, which actually is more of a journal. Anyway, more on that later. Writing with it actually is very pleasant to write with, at least the nib that I'm having on. The designs of the nib actually are very nice. I like them. It says Natami on it, as well as on the cap, which is very hard to see. You would need a very good lighting, at least if your vision is not that good as mine. Well, no, what I meant to say is your vision is as bad as mine, not as good as mine anyway. Yeah, hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. Basically, it's very hard to read. That's what I'm trying to say. Unless you have very good lighting, because, well, you have black letters on black body, which I guess is trying to be stealthy. Maybe they should have called it the Black Stealth rather than the Black Knight. Anyway, going back to the writing part, like I said, the nib writes actually very pleasant. I don't know if they make their own nibs, probably not. But they definitely choose the right nib, which I assume is kind of a fine, maybe extra fine. Again, if it says on the nib, I did not see it because, well, I cannot see it. Flow of the ink, especially with the carbon black, seems to be very good. No issue, even when I was doing that doodle at the end, which is not really a doodle, flourishing, I guess. And I was moving my head pretty fast. There were some skips on the upper strokes, but still very impressive that he was able to sort of keep up. You'll see it briefly, those skips, in my close-up at the end there. I jumped into the drawing part. I wanted to change the paper that I've been using. Well, not lately, but the paper that I've been using before the experiments that I've been doing on Canvas. And as such, I decided to just use my other sketchbook, which, like I mentioned, it's more like a leather journal, I guess it can be called. It is a 6 by 8 inch journal with 300 pages or so in it. Now the paper it's a little bit thinner than the other journal or sketchbook that I have, so you won't be able to take as much ink. I've done a few drawings as you've seen as I was flipping through it, and I tried to use a little bit of pencil in it and see if pencil will stick well to the pages, and it does work. However, there is some transfer happening when you close the book and I guess you work with it or you transport it and pages are, scrubbing against each other. I've seen some pencil transfer from one page to another. I'm still looking for a good paper where I could use pencils. I've been working with pencil a little bit more lately, and I want to do a full drawing with it sometime in the future. I have a lot of pencils, so expect some of that in the near future, as in probably coming as soon as I find some suitable paper that I can use and it doesn't easily transfer from one page to another. I might have to use maybe some type of inserts that will protect that. What kind of inserts, I have no idea, but hopefully we will find out. The pen on this paper, on this drawing, worked actually very beautiful. I was trying to do the same idea that I'm usually do with my loose lines and trying to build shapes out of dots and lines as I usually do without the help of the paper. Like I was mentioning in multiple of my videos, the paper that I've been using, the cotton paper, helps a lot with my drawing style, and I really like it, and I want to learn how to do it on just regular paper basically, and I think I kind of nailed it. It's really not the paper, I guess it is my hand. It's the randomness that you put in the lines and how the hand jumps from a line to another. Something that I'm not really controlling. I just let my hand do the thing, and I'm just trying to control the tones that I see on the page. So what I see lighter, I want to keep lighter. When I see darker and I want to create that pop effect, I'm trying to put more lines in the same spot until it gets, I guess, darker. When I started with the drawing, I had no plans. I have no plans for this sketchbook, as most of my sketchbooks or sketches or drawings. Actually, I wanted to be more random with this and try and maybe step away a little bit from the monsters that I usually draw, or the characters, or again, whatever you want to call them. And I managed to do that in the sketchbook in the first, I guess, 2 pages. I do draw on both sides of the page, and I think I was going pretty well with this one as well, until, I don't know, it's either my brain how it's wired, or the fact that the camera is on and my brain goes into that mode. There's a character that popped on this page, and it was done completely unintentional. I thought it might end up being some type of I don't know, blob of fur or some type of plant like I have on the other pages. But no, eventually it turned out actually quite interesting character, floating character. I hope you can see what I see. I did enjoy the drawing. It took me about an hour and a half, I think, to complete, or somewhere around there, with a break or 2 between them. I took the breaks because there were a few parts where I wasn't sure exactly what parts of this character I want darker and what parts I want lighter. As much as I'm trying to let my hand do the drawing, like I was saying, I'm not trying to control the lines, but I am trying to control the tones to hopefully give it a little bit more pop, or to make it not too flat. And that's the parts that I usually try and control. and usually comes after I see something on the page, and then I'm trying to find different tones. I tried to use pencil a little bit at one point in time just to see if I can get some variety out of, the tones. Didn't work very well with this ink, or at least not with this drawing, or you won't be able to see much. So while I was trying to use it a little bit, I quickly gave up on it because it wasn't really making a huge difference. The weird part is, after I use the pencil and I try and come with carbon black ink on top of it, it wasn't working as good anymore, as in it feels like the pencil, or at least that lead that I've been using it on the paper, somehow stopped the pen slightly from working properly. So on the parts where I put pencil down, the pen had issues putting ink down. So I thought that was interesting. I don't remember seeing that in any, or having that in any of my past drawings, but yeah, that happened. In the end, I actually enjoyed the fountain pen. It's a pretty cool fountain pen. Wish it would come in different colors, but who knows, if it gets to be popular in a way or other, we might be able to see more of these pens. But maybe not in North America. I try to find this pen on eBay or other auction sites or other websites. I couldn't find it, at least not on the ones that I usually have accounts on. As such, I don't know how popular it'll be. However, it is a pretty cool little pen. I do like it. I do enjoy using it. The painting on it's actually very good. The section is a little bit more matte than the barrel and the cap, which seems to be a little bit more more smooth to the touch, which I guess is a good thing because the section gives you more grip, which I like. It's just that it gives maybe a weird effect because you have different vibes of black on it, but somehow they do work together pretty well. No complaints. Anyway, if you see this pen and you're curious about it and you think it's worth it, I think it is, as long as the nib works good on it. On my copy, it seems to work very well. So again, it's very, very hard to give it any thumbs down on any parts. I like it. Try it out. You might find it nice and useful, and you might actually even love it. Anyway, that's it for today. It was a fun drawing. I do like the sketchbook, however the pages, or the journal book, however the pages are a little bit maybe too thin for ink. Inks like this, like carbon black, might work, as you can see very well on it. It might not be able to take inks that leave a puddle behind it or very juicy nibs. I think you will start seeing some ghosting on the page. But yeah, fun nonetheless. I like the cream paper. Cream paper is fun. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining me today. I don't know what's gonna be next week. I guess we'll find out together. And in the meantime, I wish you nothing but the best and a wonderful night or day, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.